Look, all I wanna do is make the city proud, yeah. Wishing all the OGs could see me, nah, yeah. And when you feel something you can't see, but you know it's meant to be, you gon' realize that this is bigger than me, yeah. Bigger than me. Get it, I pray that you get it, even if I can't get it with you. I pray to God you never let the little things in life distract you from the bigger picture. Everybody in the city.
You know why I see it in our team? Because you come from royalty.
Welcome back. Look, this is episode 8 of W2J. Man, I just think it's crazy to think that we are almost through season 2 of something that I, envisioned doing, almost 2 years ago now. To think that we're almost through 2 seasons is really crazy to me. And I just, we start talking about success and things like that. And I mean, this is a massive success to me to be able to get through 2 seasons of something that, we just talked about literally in the kitchen, of giving you guys quality content of how to create success for yourself. So, I just want to encourage you all to enact whatever it is that you envision. Go out and do that, regardless of whatever the successes that you think are going to happen. Just do it. 2 years ago, I was nervous about what would everybody say or how would it come out. And finally, I just jumped in head first. And, we're almost through season 2. So, as always, I am, Oliver is Mr. Negative. And I only promise to speak the truth, regardless of how y'all feel. Because if I give y'all anything, I'm going to give y'all that real. Last week, episode 7 was all about crafting your dream team, right? You might be good, but developing a quality team around you could take you to great, phenomenal, or even exceptional, right? And a lot of times that team is in your own backyard, individuals right around you. So after you craft that dream team, the very next step, episode 8, is all about finding your target market, right? And I want you to understand that it is finding the ideal customer. I know you guys are great. I know you're going to create great products and great services, and they could touch so many lives, right? Like, I create something that everybody could benefit. That's how I felt about my presentations. Like, I can speak for anybody. But what I had to understand is that I needed to find my niche market or my ideal customer, right? Let's just say, right, you have such a great product, you have such a great service, but I need you to boil it down and ask yourself, ask your team, if we could only design something and we could give it to one person, right? One person, who would that be, right? What would they look like? What would the age range be? Where would they live, right? Try to narrow down the individuals or the person that you are marketing and you are designing your product or service to, right? That's going to give you a clear marketing strategy. How do I reach that person, right? A lot of you growing up in the hood or adverse situations, right? Back in high school and things like that, when I was selling the wrong product, I want you to understand, if you're selling the wrong product, you're just a hood entrepreneur, right? It's just different terminologies, right? In corporate America, they call it something different than they call it in the streets, right? In the streets, you're trying to find your plug, right? In corporate America, you're trying to find your #1 distributor, right? It's just different terminology. So if we could get you to think about selling the proper product, and then who is your ideal client, because, if you're selling things in the streets, you still need to know who your ideal client is, right? Think of a certain fiend, right? But really, it's just your niche market, right? So who is that ideal client for you? Who is the ideal customer that you were designing this for? And I'll give you an example. When I wrote my first book, Win Today, A Simple Page a Day Empowers the Mind, I had to write this with an ideal person in mind. I said, I want to design this book because where I come from, we don't really read that much. I know when I was in high school, junior high school and things like that, you couldn't get me to read if it didn't have an athlete or if it did not have an artist or musician on the front cover, I just wouldn't pick it up like that. So I said, all right, so I know where I come from, cats don't really read like that, especially young black males. So I said, I want to design this book for a young black male, ages anywhere from the age range of 13 to 18, right? I want to be able to make it so thin that he wouldn't feel intimidated about picking it up. So I'm only going to make it a page to a page and a half a day, per day. You just drop it after the page or a page and a half, right? I put that in the title, right? So then from there, I said, 13 to 18, this is the individual that I'm looking for. He's going through adverse situations. So every story, everything in the book is designed identically for that person. And I know that the content in there is so wide enough that anybody could benefit from it. But if I could only give it to one person, it would be a black male, ages 13 to 18, growing up in socioeconomically deprived areas like myself. I was looking for certain things, so I designed it for that person. Now, when the young girl picks it up and she's, in the 6th grade, or she's 6 through 12 years old, right? And she says, oh my God, this changed my life. It's completely different, right? I know you could benefit from it, but I just had to narrow it down and said, if I could only give it to one person. And that was the one person. Then you figure out, well, then how do I market that, right? How do I get it to that person? So I said, all right, well, I got this book. I have a certain price point. I understand a young kid, 13 to 18, really not interested in buying books. Like, that's not really their priority, right? Probably gonna get some J's, go out to eat, whatever the case may be, right? So that's where the money is going. So I said, I know we need to go to education. We have to go to the school districts and we have to get them to purchase a certain number of copies. That way we could get it into that customer's hands, into the person who needs it, into the person's hand who it was designed for. Right? So, all right, well, now I have to get it to the school district. Hey, you know what? And then we're going to give speeches. We're going to do presentations about my life and about the different things, about being successful. So when that young man or that young girl hears the presentation, they're going to be excited and they're going to be moved and feel like they want to open it and actually crack the book once they get it in their hand. It won't just sit on the desk and collect dust. Right? So by identifying your target market or your ideal customer, it will then allow you to develop a marketing strategy of how to get it in the hands of the person that it's meant for. And then from there, the world can grab it and then individuals all over can benefit from it. And then thinking about who does this very well, who personifies this, is none other than Chance the Rapper, right? Listen to this guy. You can clearly understand who he is targeting in his music, in his philanthropy, or whatever he is doing. He's letting you know out the gate. First, I want you to be an owner. I do not want you to have anybody in control of your product or service or whatever your creation is. And then from there, I'm designing this for a young individual, right? The youth, the new generation of individuals. His music is directly meant for these individuals and anybody going through adverse circumstances, right? And then you see he goes into his own city, right? He goes back to Chicago and he donates $1 million to the school system. He is targeting specific groups of individuals with his content and his creation. It's in your face and he lets you know it every chance he gets, right? No point intended. Everything is about your target market and the ideal person. So when you listen to Chance's music and he tells you, right, he lets you know exactly who he's talking about in his music. And I just love it so much. Mitch, could we just give him a sample real quick? Just a quick sample.
Rapper jump ship. I guess that's why they call it where I stay. Clean up the streets so my daughter can have somewhere to play. I'm the blueprint to a real man. Some of these niggas toss they tassel for a
So
deal.
here are some of the things that could potentially happen when you find your target market and you put out quality, right? Potentially you could perform with some of your idols, go on a world tour, perform in front of the first black president, win 3 Grammys, right? Have the ability to give $1 million back to your home city in the school system. Be one of the youngest philanthropy award winners in history. And I think most important, become a great father. So shout out to Chance, harping back to a couple of weeks ago, by being intentional about what you put in your creation and then leading by example. Here's the thing that I know for certain. You could be like myself, you could be like Chance and find your target market. That's gonna generate you the success that you want in the marketing strategies. Remember that we all have the chance to be like Chance. Once you do that, you find your target market. We'll see you next week. Yeah, I said that earlier.
I got